Worry lines can run deep. With increasing commodity prices, higher price volatility, and rising input costs, America's farmers rely on crop insurance to protect their crops and livestock. Crop insurance, providing peace of mind now and for the next generation of agriculture.
Congresswoman Suzan DelBene from Washington's 1st District, thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Well, just for starters, can you give us a little bit of a background on your district and the kinds of agriculture in it?
So my district goes from the suburbs of Seattle area in Washington up to the Canadian border. So 4 counties, and there's agriculture in every county. We have Whatcom and Skagit counties, which are biggest agriculture producers, mostly fruits and vegetables, a lot of dairy, and then we have a lot of organic farming in Snohomish and King County. So big ag community, definitely a lot of specialty crops, and just some incredible farmland.
And also serving on the House Agriculture Committee, what are some of your goals on that committee based on the agriculture that you have within your district?
Well, I think one thing that I'm a former tech person, and I think we have incredible opportunities with research with respect to agricultural industry. This is a very rich industry, and there's a lot of great research happening right in our state and across the country. But also specialty crops are an incredibly important product in our area, and they probably haven't gotten as much attention as they deserve always. And we have new push on fruits and vegetables. So making sure we support our specialty crop producers and support research that's going on to help their products be, greater yields, deal with pests, et cetera, is going to be very, very important. So getting specialty crop attention has been a high priority of mine. And then also the dairy industry. We have a big dairy industry in Washington State, farmers across the state, but many in our district. And so making sure that we have policies in place to continue to help our dairy producers be successful going forward is another priority of mine.
And the big topic of choice right now within agricultural legislation is that Farm Bill. And what are some of the goals that you have, or what are some things that you'd really like to see accomplished with that new Farm Bill?
Basically making sure we do a great job of supporting specialty crops, making sure we invest in research, making sure that we have dairy policy. The Dairy Security Act was very important to the producers in my region, and making sure that we have a policy that is, supports a lot of our smaller farmers who are trying to get up and going and build successful businesses. So this is going to be, that's part of the policy that I think is incredibly important, and it's very disappointing that we did not get a Farm Bill passed, and I'm hopeful that we'll continue to work on this so that we continue to get policies in place, not just for 60 days or 90 days and continuing resolutions, but we get a Farm Bill passed that supports our farmers for years in the future so they know where things are headed and are able to plan accordingly.
Now, you mentioned your background in technology. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how that better prepared you to serve in Congress?
Well, I started my career in biotechnology, doing medical research, and then ended up switching to information technology. Worked at Microsoft for many years, and also worked as an entrepreneur in the startup technology world. So, I understand a lot of the efforts going on in research, not just in the medical field, but how efforts in research in the agriculture industry are so critically important, and that relationship between research and eventual commercial applications of that research. And that's something that's happening in ag right now. And so all of these things fit together, and I think sometimes when we talk about technology, we forget there's a lot of great technology happening in our agricultural industry, and I've been witness to it, but also know how critical that is and want to make sure we continue to bring that into the conversation.
Also serving on the House Judiciary Committee, what are some of the differences that you've noticed between committee work within agriculture and committee work within justice?
Well, immigration is probably one of the big issues in judiciary, and also has a big impact on the Agricultural Committee as well. So these are areas that, even though I have 2 separate committees, this is an area where they both kind of come together. But clearly, the Ag Committee has been a bipartisan committee. People have been working to try to get policy moving forward. I think it's been a place where I think people, maybe some of the differences are more geographic than they are partisan, and that's been great to see, and I think is an example that people want to see going forward in legislation, not just in the Ag Committee, but in all of our committees. Right. Judiciary is, there are many tough issues, immigration being one, but we have a similar opportunity to work together and get a comprehensive immigration bill passed that supports our farm workers, supports immigration. So I have a border, I have high technology workers, I have a lot of ag, so all of those come together in my district, and comprehensive immigration reform is a top priority for everyone, including all of our farmers.
All right, and what are some of the things that you're hoping to accomplish throughout the course of immigration reform?
Well, I think getting a comprehensive bill passed is probably the top priority. It's, the Senate has passed a bill. Now we need to make sure that we move forward in the House to get a bill passed. And, it's important that we have a bill that treats all of the people working in this country with respect and dignity they deserve. I've talked to many farmers throughout our region who have a great respect for their workforce. And in Washington State, we've had workforce shortages. And so this is a top issue that we need to address, very, very relevant to our ag community, but very, very relevant to the communities in my district that want to make sure that we do a great job of supporting all the people who are living in our country.
And finally, Congresswoman, can you give us a little bit of a background on yourself and what really motivated you to serve in Congress?
Well, I came from a family that struggled a lot when I was growing up. My dad lost his job when I was young, so we moved all over the country, in rural areas, urban areas. But I always had a chance to get a great education, always felt like opportunity was available to me. Got to go to college with student loans and financial aid, and that's part of the reason I'm sitting here. And it's incredibly important to me that everyone have access to the same opportunities that I have, and that we make sure that we look at the investments we make as a country going forward, preserve those opportunities for our children, our children's children, to make sure that they are able to continue to build the great country that we've built today.
Congresswoman Suzan DelBene from Washington's 1st District, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.